Hello, thank you for your interest in Project Sunrise. I'm Ashu Chatterjee, CEO and co-founder of Caravel Labs, and I'm joined here with my colleagues James Liao, Meghna Bharadwaj, and Shubham Kundu, who will share with you all the details of our internship program for 2022. But before that, I wanted to share with you some thoughts that I've gathered over my 3 decades as a software engineer so that you have a better understanding of what you could expect from Caravel Labs. This is the picture of what is known as a basic oxygen furnace and is used to make high-quality steel, which, as we know, is a basic ingredient for modern society. I don't remember the date, it must have been sometime in late 1993 or early 1994, but I remember the exact moment when I watched the execution of my code move machines weighing hundreds of tons to start blowing oxygen into 60 tons of molten iron at Bhilai Steel Plant in what is now the Chhattisgarh state in India. I remember the flames leaping out of that massive bucket and the almost searing heat of those flames as a result of the few lines of code that I had written. As a computer science graduate, I knew nothing about metallurgy. The person making the steel was a metallurgical engineer, the user, my customer, but it was my code that was helping me do it. In that moment, I was so mesmerized watching the effects of my code being executed in debugger mode with a few breakpoints that I was not sure how it will perform. I did not even think of how the steel that my code was helping make was going to turn into rails on which billions of people, trillions of grains of food, and millions of tons of all that goes into making life as we know it for a fifth of humanity. When you work as a software engineer in such projects, you quickly realize how privileged we are as software engineers. Our work has the direct power to change millions and billions of lives. It is no surprise that as a profession, we make more money than almost any other in the world. Choosing to have positive impact on humanity through our professional work is not just a good thing to do, it is also the only way we can sustain high income for ourselves in the course of our careers. As one of the co-founders of Caravel Labs used to say, do good to do well. We are a software engineering consultancy for social impact. But why social impact specifically? In my opinion, it goes back to our privilege as software engineers and our choice to exercise that privilege. The human species, and arguably life itself on this planet, face existential threats today. Let's think of the things that we have all been watching with alarm in the recent past. Natural disasters of unprecedented ferocity caused by our continued and collective failure to address the climate crisis. Public healthcare failures that take millions of lives and destroy the livelihoods of tens of millions, if not more. Disinformation that undermines civic institutions to increase the divide across humanity, making it further vulnerable to future threats. Yet, at the same time, never in recorded history have we been equipped with better tools and wisdom to tackle these issues. We have just a few years left before we get to the point of no return, but our very own field of information technology allows us to scale the innovation required to achieve this in a timely manner. And last but not the least, this is a huge business opportunity. The technology consulting market for achieving this is twice the size of the present consulting market, and it remains largely untapped. The founders of Caravel Labs met and worked together on the same team for a decade at Microsoft, its consulting services division to be more specific. There we got to learn of the very different and highly effective software engineering practices of Microsoft's best product engineering teams, and were inspired to bring them to our consulting customers. A prerequisite for these software engineering practices to be efficacious is the product engineering mindset and culture, which, as I mentioned earlier, is not directly supported by the pay-for-effort business model of the consulting industry. We therefore had to set up a separate practice internally where such a culture was valued. The 2 successive teams that we built were small by design, but we designed and built innovative software for customers in 24 countries on every human inhabited continent in the process. By the measures of the consulting industry, our team's portfolio size was in the hundreds of millions of dollars, but it was achieved with a team that was only about a tenth in size to what the industry expected it to be. Our team stood out for its impact and its reputation to successfully take on the seemingly impossible and receive the highest and rarest of recognitions within the world's largest software company, something that we are very proud of. Our work at Microsoft gave us the opportunity to realize the universality of human aspirations and motivations. We learned that while social norms teach us to categorize humanity by cultural traits and identities, income levels are greater predictors of outcomes, both at the individual and community level. As you can see in the chart above, only about 1/7 of humanity can be categorized as high income, also known as level 4. Serving them is largely what the Fortune 500 companies do. It is also noteworthy here that level 4 is what every individual aspires to, and we believe is something that every human is entitled to. Another 1/7 of the world can be classified as low income, also known as level 1. The goal of eliminating extreme poverty is the same as helping move everyone out of this level. While we may not realize it, extreme poverty, and by extension the size of the level 1 population, has been declining for decades. Aid-based organizations, governments, intergovernment agencies, and some large private organizations have robust systems and well-defined processes to keep moving things forward, even though the pace may vary. 5/7 of humanity, however, are in the middle income categories. They are served by social innovators in both the public and private sector who have unique scaling needs that cannot be served by commoditized technology. Yet the traditional technology consulting model is not fast and nimble enough to provide the innovation in a timely manner. Even for the Fortune 500 companies, as well as the aid-based organizations seeking to innovate, the traditional IT consulting model falls short. We are reminded of the privilege that we have as software engineers serving social innovators. In building Caravel Labs, we chose to build a platform where like-minded engineers and designers will find their intrinsic professional motivations valued and rewarded. This is where I'm often asked if we are a nonprofit. No, we are not a nonprofit, nor are we an IT sweatshop. We are a profit-seeking company with a purpose. We do good to do well. The Caravel in our name represents our aspiration to challenge the status quo of the consulting industry by continuing to incentivize high-performance software delivery in the way our namesake 15th century sailing ship category first enabled circumnavigation of the globe. The Caravel represents technology, but technology is simply a tool in the hands of those who wield it. As history teaches us, the sponsors of the fleets of caravels back then were driven by greed and hatred for those humans that they considered different from themselves. The effects of technological advancement can be detrimental to humanity if intentions are not clearly and measurably good. Some of the vestiges of systemic human exploitation can still be found in our corporate vocabulary because the notion of monetizing human labor remains enshrined in our business model, even though chattel slavery and indentured labor appear to have been abolished. Remember that widespread practice of referring to humans as resources? The sailors who navigated the uncharted seas in the 15th century had compasses to guide them to new lands. However, they were not necessarily equipped with an ethical compass that would guide them towards the common good. We obviously cannot repeat that mistake with the metaphorical caravels that we build in our labs. We therefore use a compass, if you will, to ensure that our work brings positive change for all humanity. We measure the potential impact of our work against the targets and indicators of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, which are the closest thing that we have to a universally acceptable framework for doing good. Through this, we also influence our customers, whether public or private sector, established organizations or startups, to be more intentional partners in a circle of innovation that leaves no human behind. Project Sunrise is meant to give you a taste for inspiration in your work and not just for working hard. It is to give you an appreciation for the latest advances in information technology as a problem-solving engineer and not just as a technician making a living out of a tool. 1 million engineers will graduate with you from India alone. All of them will have access to the same technologies and tools. Only a small fraction will have the inspiration and the realizations that will make them the most valued engineers in the world. We are always looking for such engineers to join our team. In fact, we compete hard against the top employers such as Microsoft, Google, and others for such talent. Our customers benefit from hiring such engineers to continue the work after we are done. Through Project Sunrise, we increase the odds of finding such engineers. Thanks for listening to me, and over to James for more details about the internship program.
As technologists, we have been building great software technology for many years. When we started Caravel Labs, we want to make sure that the technology that we build that not only empowers innovators, but also align to build a better world. When we look at how we define a better world, we found the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs. Those are 17 goals adopted by all United Nations member states in 2015. It provides a shared blueprint for peace and prosperity for people and the planet, now and into the future till 2030. So 15 years, we are about halfway there in 2022. The 17 goals are then further defined in a list of 169 targets, and the progress towards these targets is agreed to be tracked by 232 unique indicators. This alignment with our software technology to the STG goals, targets, and indicators is part of the software engineering consultancy service that we provide for social innovation and social impact. We are passionate about sustainable development in 3 dimensions. The first one related to the SDGs. It's about the planet and the people. We build technology. It has to be inclusive to consider all people, everyone that's affected directly and indirectly by the software that we build. And it has to align with social equity, because when it's not for everyone's better lives, someone is left out, and that's not sustainable. Secondly, at the software level, we want to make sure that it's a tool adapt to human needs so that people are sustainably using it instead of humans adapting to technology, which eventually that the better tools can be replaced. So human-centered design is what we use to ensure that our software understands and knows about people's needs. And thirdly, on the engineering agility is the technology dimension where we automate everything as we can, going from the source code to production, so that the producing and development of software is sustainable in its own. How we do software engineering is through small, empowered, cross-disciplinary teams. We favor generalists instead of specialists. The reason is because as generalists, they are more capable of solving wicked problems and bring in expertise and bring in knowledge more broadly across. We look into empower and train our team members into capital T-shaped talents, where they are very broad across from design to engineering to testing, and specializes in their own favorite skills. So our teams are small, 2 to 6 engineers per team. Every engineer practices across the broadly development, design, and site reliability. We eliminate waste and toil through as much automation in deployment, test automation, and project management automation. We then apply human-centered design and bring our users, our customers, into designing the solution together. We emphasize and define user needs through the design thinking approach. Then, after we understand the pain points of our users, we practice compassion by co-designing the solution with our users through rapid prototyping. After the software is developed, we bring it back to the users for their feedback through usability testing and incorporate those feedback into the loop of product design. Through our development, we try to take as little iteration and chunk as possible, so it's fast development cycles enabling adaptivity to changes in the real world and to business priorities. Software is released on demand with the development operations automation DevOps. And we use robust building blocks with proving existing code frameworks, such as React, Angular, Expo, etc. Then, as I mentioned before, when we are building the software technology, we also provide the social innovation, social impact research to align the SDGs, goals, targets, and indicators with the customer's business and their impact. We research among the 232 unique indicators to figure out what are the definitions and what are the formulas to calculate the measure the progress towards making the world better. Then we incorporate that social impact into our customer's product design, explore practical ways with our customer in the design of their product to align the measurement of the SDG impact to their business. Then we implement telemetry and user feedback to actually calculate the social impact using those indicators and showing the progress towards and proving it, how much better, what is better, and etc. And then what we hope is that to provide Caravel Labs being the platform where we can increase the customer's business impact and elevate it to the global level, and by aligning it with the global SDGs, produce a social impact report with actual data to prove the progress making into a better world. And then we partner with customers to pursue impact investment to further scale their business. Next, I will turn it to Meghna and Shubham to share from their interns' perspective on how this internship has been for them in the past.
Thank you, James. Hi, everyone. I am Meghna Bharadwaj, and I'm currently a software consultant with the Caravel Labs. I was also a part of Sunrise 2020, which was the first internship program that was hosted by Caravel Labs. And later, I got converted as a full-time software consultant with the Caravel Labs. Today, I will tell you a little bit about the journey of our clients that we had with them. The most recent client we had was Lightning Law, and what they wanted us to do was to help them increase access to a judicial process, and we made for them a platform which was integrated with video conferencing, document sharing, payment, as well as make the entire judicial process of mediation and attorney-client consultation much more easier for their clients. And we even had a live mediation session where our clients were where the clients were the lawyers and they had attorneys in the US, they had mediators in the US, while they had their clients in Nigeria. We also have worked in the fashion industry. So we worked with this company called StyleCard, and we made them a platform which incorporated 3D modeling and machine learning. And this basically helped them improve customer experience while buying clothes, as well as with machine learning and 3D modeling. What we did was we tried to reduce waste in fashion so that clients could only choose those clothes which were suited for their body type and also were recommended to them because of machine learning again. And another project that we worked with was the Queen's English, which is actually very close to my heart because that was the first project that we worked in as interns and later on as software consultants. And we've seen the Queen's English journey grow. We've seen them be a small startup where they were teaching hardly 10, 15 students. And with our app that we prepared for them, which had speak recognition technology, which would help students learn English better, not only English grammatically, but also in a way that their pronunciations were also better using speech recognition technology. We've seen them grow and grow their base not only in India, but also in Singapore. So that is a journey that we've seen with our clients in my very short span with Caravel Labs, which has hardly been, say, 7 or 8 months. So, and it has obviously been a great journey. So this is me, and as I told you, I started off as a Sunrise intern in the year 2020. And what is great about Caravel Labs is that I get to see the entire life cycle of a software. I have seen a software platform grow from its initiation and ideation days. I have been a part of the architectural days. I have been a part of the maintenance days. And I also see how not only we grow as a company or the software grows in our company, but we also see how our client grows and how we are able to help them be a better self and get their ideas basically to a reality. And again, also something that I have found in Caravel Labs is people are extremely encouraging and we get to learn every single day. And there is always room for more learning is what I have learned in Caravel Labs. Thank you. I would now hand over the presentation to Shubham.
Thanks, Meghna, for such a wonderful introduction of yourself. So, I also started as an intern in the year 2020 in the project Sunrise. That was one of the first, as told by Meghna. So, from the first day of my internship, I understood one thing. Like here, the more than a work culture, we discuss things. We love to express things, and we like. So today, when I joined as a consulting engineer full time, it's like whenever we build a new feature, every time we discuss things. So there is no one above me who tells me like the architect. We all architect the solution together. So like in my placement season, I got almost around 17 job offers, but I loved to work here because I understood that here it is giving me an immense full of opportunities to explore stuffs, to build products that can help people, that can serve people on a scale, and moreover it is giving me the platform to express my ideas and express it big. So like like almost I am almost 6 months full time, and already we have worked on 3 production ready projects which are serving thousands of people. So that's it from my side. So now I would like to express one of my colleague, like Arpita. Arpita was also one of my intern colleague in the year 2020. So with her, she was an specialist in UX designing. Okay. So in our company, we have this UX generalist. So what does this mean? So it means the pupil who understands the UX, because nowadays if we develop something, the first things which interact with your user is the UX. So the UX need to be human centric, and Arpita has been doing quite well in that. So I think I won't take much of a time of you guys, as like everything has been told by all my previous speakers and my colleagues. But I would like to welcome you to our internship program, and I can guarantee you one thing, that you will get a immense lot of opportunities to express yourself, to tell yourself, and trust me, even if you don't join us full time, you will, after completing the internship, you will gain immense knowledge and immense way of approaching things, like how to solve problems, the approaching things. So these are the tentative dates of for the internship. The more details is there in the post it will be given. So I welcome you all guys. Please join us in this wonderful journey, and let's make it big. Thank you.